social work. Um, you are attending our fifth and final summer series session. We always kind of end our summer series with our alumni panel, and it is by far my favorite. It seems to be one of the most popular ones we host too, because it is, I think, one of the unique opportunities that we're able to provide where we've got new incoming students, maybe one or two prospective students, but I know most of you are already admitted, getting ready to join us this summer and fall, and really be able to connect you with the professionals, the graduates who have done what you're about to undertake and are out there, working in the profession, working out in the field. And it always makes for a really cool panel, a really cool discussion. So the session here this evening is going to focus on that. I think this is also the first time I'm going to be turning it over to Sandile Manzini, your host for the panel, who is actually also a graduate of the program, an MSW graduate and a MAP graduate. So I think you're really going to enjoy the panel that has agreed to join us tonight. I know they're going to be introducing themselves, but looking through kind of where you're all coming from, where you're working. I think everybody, our attendees, our new incoming students will be able to find somebody who maybe is coming from their program, they're blended, they're online, they're the Newark campus, and maybe working in an area that they're interested in. So again, I'll just say thank you to all of you for being here, attendees, new students, and very much our panelists. And I will turn it over to Sandile.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our summer series, School of Social Work alumni panel. My name is Sandile Manzini, and I serve as the Assistant Director of Admissions and Recruitment here at the Rutgers School of Social Work. It's truly an honor to welcome you all and to this special conversation. Today, we're thrilled to be joined by a panel of amazing MSW alumni who will share their journeys from graduate school to professional practice. Um, for those in the audience, whether you're currently in the program, have recently been admitted, or simply exploring the options, I'm confident you'll walk away with valuable insights, inspiration, and practical advice. So before we begin, a few quick notes. This session, again, as Laura mentioned, is being recorded so others can benefit from today's conversation. We ask that you remain on mute if you are not speaking, but feel free to use the chat to engage in any questions that you may have. And we'll leave time at the end for questions and answers if time allows. So let's begin with our panelists, and I'll start with Joseph.
Oh boy, I was not expecting to go first. How's everybody
You
doing?
could just give us a brief introduction.
All right, so how's everybody doing this nice, warm summer afternoon? I'm Joe Falborn. I graduated from the Rutgers School of Social Work in 2022. I chose the online format at the time. So recently, my workplace, I just transitioned to private practice. However, since I graduated from Rutgers in 2022, I really took the time I worked in a wide variety of places, from hospital settings to being in a school setting to being to a community setting, as well as providing mental health services for the Children's System of Care, which provides intensive mental health services in the state of New Jersey for families in crisis. Welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Jose, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Jose Laureano. I graduated from the program many, many years ago. I graduated in 1998, actually, with a concentration at the time. It was Administration, Planning, and Policy, which is MAPS now. Um, and I was a full-time student attending classes on campus. I currently serve as the Vice President for Student and Enrollment Services at Middlesex College. And I actually worked a brief time at the school of social work as well. So I've been in higher education now for over 25 years.
Thank you. Next, Nikki.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nikki Brown. I have received my master's of social work at Rutgers in 2015. I started out with the Head Start Association as a director of Head Start programs for about 9 years, 8, 9 years. I currently supervise an intensive case management team serving participants in Philadelphia in a clinical setting.
Great, thank you. Next we'll have Shy.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Shai Yi. I graduated last year. I did the blended program, and I'm currently an assistant dean at the Rutgers School of Business. I was in higher education for now 21 years, and yeah, various roles. And I think this is my second master's degree, and it's after 21 years. I actually earlier I thought this is such a great degree for working in higher education, and I'm trying to get people to understand that social work is a great to understand it is also very much needed in the business world because that's where decisions are being made that impacts people all over.
Thank you. And next and lastly, we have Mahogany.
Oops. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, nice to meet you all. My name is Mahogany, and I graduated from Rutgers School of Social Work in 2020 with the bachelor's and 2021 with my master's. And I have been working in a variety of fields as well. I've done like in community services, checking on people in their homes. For the past 3 years, it's been the nursing home rehab setting, which I love, and also on the side doing mental health therapy for the past 2 years. So my goal is definitely to get that LCSW, and yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you again to our panelists. So let's dive into our discussion. The first question, and I don't know who wants to start, is what inspired you to choose Rutgers School of Social Work for your graduate studies?
If the other panel doesn't mind, I have no problem answering this question first. Honest to be so everybody's aware, I chose the Rutgers School of Social Work over programs such as NYU, Fordham, USC because of the investment from the initial phone call I had through the application piece to just seeing if how the application piece was going. Just they want from the start time I got from the start that I agree I was interested in Rutgers till getting accepted and all the way till my first day of class. It's incredible how much Rutgers is invested in their students. And I even noticed that while being a student here. So it's just the investment and the level of caring every employee, teacher, professor has in students here. That's why I chose the School of Social Work.
Thank you. Any of our other panelists?
Um, I'll go next. I have a few reasons what inspired me. One, there's a professor, I think he's emeritus, Richard Edwards. He was leading a university-wide initiative back in 2016, and I think about um just how he led it and the stories he said to the students. That kind of him being a professor in social work and having worked in social work and the lens he took, that was really inspiring. And I also, my coworker, who's now an adjunct at Rutgers, so if you guys can take her class, Christina Broderick Royce, she's the adjunct for the School of Social Work. I used to sit next to her, and just the words that she would say to the students and to colleagues, it was just very empowering and inspiring. And those are, I think, the words and tools that we need in this current modern day generation with all the changes, how to handle difficult times, how to be inspired, and how to move forward. And I think the Rutgers School of Social Work does a really good job of providing the academic piece of that. But as Joseph said, the faculty here, they come from all over the world. And when you want to have a deep dive conversation on something you want to know more about that you may not be familiar, they welcome that. So even if you're in the online or online program where you don't get a chance to talk to them, if you can come to campus for different events, I would say come because the professors are so great when you meet them in person and how they just like light up when they're like, "Oh, I know you," right? You're just not a name on a screen. So that's one of the reasons, or a few of the reasons why I chose Rutgers School of Social Work.
Thank you.
I can go next. Well, back in the days when I was about to graduate from undergrad, I knew that I wanted to pursue a master's degree, but I was torn between a master's in public administration, a master's in counseling, or even a master's in public policy. Then one of my mentors mentioned the versatility of the MSW degree, and I realized that it was a perfect fit for me. In addition, as was mentioned by the other panelists, the reputation of Rutgers, the academic rigor, the strong emphasis also on social justice aligned perfectly with my values and my professional goals. So my initial decision also to pursue the MSW program at Rutgers was also deeply rooted in my desire and commitment to serve urban youth and to become a director of youth programs. That was, I thought, going to be my favorite job or the job I wanted to get. And it actually ended up being the first job that I got after I graduated. So again, it was a perfect fit for me since I was all over the place. And as to what mentioned, the professors really are fully invested in your success. And to this day, I still talk to many of my professors and colleagues as well and fellow classmates.
I
Okay.
think that, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I actually don't think I chose Rutgers School of Social Work. I think it chose me because I knew since like I was a junior in high school that I wanted to be a social worker. And I knew that, I was interested in Rutgers. It's right next to my hometown. Well, it's in my hometown actually. And I was like, you know what? Like, this is what I'm going to pursue. And it all just aligned very well because I was also a part of the Price Family Fellows Program, which is through the Rutgers School of Social Work, if any of you have ever heard of it. So I think my entire Rutgers experience just very much aligned with a focus towards social work.
And lastly, we have Nikki.
So for as far as me wanting to join the social work program, I did get my bachelor's at Rutgers, New Brunswick. And I after Rutgers, New Brunswick, I went to Newark and I was working in a school setting, and then I came back to Rutgers, New Brunswick to join the MSW program. And the reason why is because honestly, like I'm a New Jersey resident, and I really enjoyed the smaller setting with at Rutgers. Rutgers is huge, but the social work program is a little bit smaller, so the family setting worked out worked out for me the most.
Great. Thank you all. It's always important to hear why behind our journeys. The next question I have is what stood out most to you about the program, whether it be academically, personally, or professionally?
I guess I can speak on that because I kind of just um, already discussed the smaller setting. I enjoyed the most. The professors there, they helped you out. They helped you out a lot. You were able to connect with them deeper in a setting that was more so on a one-on-one if you needed to. If I needed any extra time to speak with them, they were very friendly and understanding. So having that smaller setting in a large school was very important for me.
Thank you.
I'm also going to share the same sentiment is the with the teachers as well. The professors were extremely personal. You know, they were very understanding that the staff, the teachers realized that the students were human. They also go that the students go through trials and tribulations, and they were very accommodating. So that's what stood out to me most throughout my journey. On top of how knowledgeable the professors were at Rutgers. I was a VOSI student, violence against women and children, but they were a lot of the way how they were to the teachers were able to instill knowledge into us, it's incredible, but in way it stuck out in ways where it was practical and it's stuff that I'm applying in my everyday job now.
I'll go next. I have a few. One, when you look at Rutgers School of Social Work ranking in the many categories are ranked, 12th across the nation out of what, 300, more than 300 students, right? I mean, 300 schools. I think that says a lot. And then also when you look at New Jersey, right? Rutgers is in New Jersey, how New Jersey's policy in education, family issues. We do a really great job. So not only is the school great, just the immediate area, the policies that are in place is something that should be strived to across the nation because it's based on sound foundation and data. And the other thing is what my fellow panelists said. You may choose it for professional or academics or the rankings, but when you come here, the professors are just so amazing. Like they're just right, they're researchers, but when you talk to them as a person, they connect so well. I During my program, I was pregnant and then I had my first child. So completing it as a full-time worker, having your child, and in the first year, I tried to think I'll do it all. And then finally, when I needed to ask for extension, because I didn't want to ask for extension, but I did, right? That's reasonable. They were just so personable and so gracious. And I think that, right, like we all want to be seen as a person, and that in itself is a great learning experience too, even in the professional space. Yeah. So professors are really wonderful.
Great.
I
Thank you.
can I can go next. I mean, similarly, along the same lines, what stood out most was the program's, again, integration of the academic excellence along with the practical real world application. I mean, for me, I found the faculty's expertise and the curriculum also with the focus on policy, advocacy, practice, provided really a strong, comprehensive foundation that I can immediately apply as I developed professionally. Personally, the second year of the program really stands out because it really felt like a cohort for me, and really fostered a sense of community and collaboration that mirrors what I'm trying to do here at the college, in creating a more inclusive environment, um, and really a supportive environment. And professionally, I feel like the program challenged me to think critically about institutional structures, community systems, and inspired me again to lead with empathy and creating a strategic vision. But again, it's more about the connection with the professors and the mentorship that you get at the program.
Great. For our next question, how has your experience at Rutgers School of Social Work shaped your career or practice as a social worker?
I can speak to that one. I think that the material definitely was helpful because when you're reading articles and reading stories, that doesn't feel like regular homework and book work. You're genuinely reading things and you're almost putting yourself like as if you were in the scenario or you know someone who's been in that scenario and you're genuinely thinking about how you can help this person or have empathy for this person. So I would say the empathy piece that Jose mentioned earlier has been a huge part of my learning experience back then, from the material to the discussions in general when you're making friends in class and you're just having side conversations about things. I also attended Study Abroad Mexico and Study Abroad China. And during those trips, we were learning about what's going on in these communities. And I definitely think that that would allow for a person to get into the field and really apply some hardcore, genuine, this is the life of a social worker skill set.
Anyone else want to answer that one?
Can also talk to I mean, I feel, the school social work profoundly shaped my approach to also my leadership and student advocacy, and actually motivated me to pursue my doctorate as well in educational leadership. For me, it equipped me with a lot of with the analytical skills, basically to assess policy, the interpersonal tools to support students navigating like complex life circumstances. So, for example, my work here to create my community resource hub and food pantry at Middlesex College really truly reflects the values instilled in me during my time at Rutgers. Um, for me, also, the MSW program cultivated my current belief in holistic student support and empowered me to also champion more equity-driven practices across our campus and to focus on our vulnerable students. These are all skill sets and lenses that I developed while in this program.
Thank you.
I will say, I think similar to Jose, right? This master in social work helped me in my current career in higher education. I mentioned that I've been in here for 21 years. I have a master's in education, and I think, and as I said, I'm a assistant dean at the School of Business. I think this program is continuing to help me to kind of synthesize practices, and it's kind of like this is where the world converges, right? I think when people talk about education, they look at it as one bucket. When they look at social work, it's another bucket, and business as separate. Whereas a lot of things, a lot of decisions that are made, um, kind of connect. So I think, as my career continues on, I'm hoping to bring the blend together so that better decisions can be made. Like Jose said, like it's how can we bring more to the students, bring more to organizations that positively impact them. So I want to say that I'm still on that road to kind of move it forward. And I think this program really helps a lot.
I would say that the program honestly taught me to lead with empathy just through my cohorts, just through my cohort and being in classes with others who come from different walks of life that I might have not grown up as. It taught me to really lead with humility and to be open and receptive to others' ideas because which helped me address working with clients because some people that I'm noticing now when I see patients is some people are scared to seek help because they're automatically closed off. But the one thing that sticks out to me is just leading with empathy and and being curious and let helped me expand my view of the world, I would say, almost in people. Hopefully, I'm sorry for that. Hopefully that's a little helpful, guys.
Um, I would say, being that the Rutgers social work program is already highly ranked in all the social work programs, but Rutgers is also top ranked, and they're like, data driven, research based approach. And with the intensive research approach, it made me feel comfortable in setting boundaries, asking for support, and advocating for a team. So very young, my first full-time job, I had 35 staff members. And I feel like if Rutgers didn't prepare me in that way, I wouldn't be able to, um, fresh out of college, jump right into a supervisor, director position.
Thank you. So, for the next question I have is, what advice would you offer to someone considering the MSW program or currently enrolled in figuring it all out? Joseph, who wants to answer? Joseph, you ready to answer?
Jose, go ahead.
Uh, I, you know, I think to those considering or currently enrolled in the MSW program, I would say to lean into the discomfort of growth. Being comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think the program will challenge your assumptions, stretch your capacity for empathy and leadership, but also to engage fully with your peers and professors. It's been a constant theme that many of us have been sharing, but they truly are your greatest resources. I mean, like I mentioned before, to this day, I still keep in touch with several of my former professors and fellow alums from the program. In addition, I also feel like it's really important to stay grounded in your purpose. Whether you're drawn into the clinical work, policy, or administration, I think Rutgers MSW program will give you the tools, but your passion is what will ultimately drive the impact that you want to make.
My advice to somebody in the program now is to be inquisitive. This degree can lead you down so many paths in your career, but my biggest advice now to you as students or potential students, and but even people that I work with now, be inquisitive because social work, but social work and mental health in general is not a one size fit all profession. I'm noticing the more and more that I've been away from Rutgers, many people have their own paths in the field of social work and mental health, but if you have a curiosity about what you could do with the degree, how you want to develop your niche as a social worker, how can you work on working with a certain population, don't be nervous or afraid to be inquisitive and ask questions. Because there is no such thing as a bad question, but honestly, that's my only thing. It's just ask. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because that's the best way. That's my advice to you to set you up for success.
I like both what Jose and Joseph had to say. I think those were really good advice. I mean, the whole idea of being passionate and letting that be the thing that carries you through is going to be extremely important because on those rough days when you're exhausted and you're, working possibly two jobs or whatever job you're doing in itself is just a lot. You want to remember like why you chose to do it in the first place and definitely inquisitive, not only because you will learn a lot by being inquisitive, you'll gain a lot of experience, but you also want to see what other opportunities are available to you within this field because I think you can go from being in social work to education or social work to business. In my case, social work in healthcare, I may be doing administration work at some point soon, but you want to be very open along with that empathy and that passion and that inquisitive energy because you want to also keep an eye open for what doors could open in something else as well. And I think sometimes people can be discouraging about having a career like this and having, this title as a social worker, but there's a lot to be done and it's a very broad field, as they were saying. So if you might be interested in something else as well after you're done with this program or when you started the field for a little bit, there's opportunity for it. You just have to be able to find it. And you won't find it by waiting for someone to present it to you. You got to see what's out there and what there's a need for and start building on that.
And I
Um,
just want to add onto what the other panelists, Joseph, Jose, and Mahogany said, be inquisitive and really embrace the field placement opportunity. You might get to a point where you're like, oh gosh, these hours, right? But it really is so helpful. Through the social work program, there's so many different field office placements. And so you can get a lot of wide variety. And from there, when you graduate, you can say that you had this experience working in healthcare in the hospital. You had this experience working in a nonprofit for housing. And it just really, professionally, that information is so helpful. But just even individually as a person, you'll come across conversation and you're like, you know what? I know how to navigate that system. I know how to help you go through that. And even for yourself, it's just such a wealth of knowledge of just living and being part of a community too.
Um, some advice that I would want you all to consider is to utilize your advisors because your advisors, they're actually going to be picking your placements if you don't reach out to them and let them know what interests you have. Let them know that you would like to work in a hospital versus a nonprofit. Maybe, if you do, get into the program and you're looking into field placements, you can actually reach out to placements yourself, and bring that to your advisor and say, hey, this hospital has an internship. This is where I would like to be. Advocate for yourself and push the limits, and let the advisors know where you would like to go or would like to be considered. Because if not, they'll just reach out to you, send you an email, and tell you where you're going to go. So, speak for your own future and let them know your interests.
Thank you all. And I'm actually gonna give an answer myself. I think you all had great answers, but I will say something that I would tell a currently enrolled student figuring it all out is while you're in these programs, while you're in the class, is to make sure you network. Your classmates can become your future colleagues, can become your future supervisors. The professors that you have will also be the ones that write your letters of recommendation in the future. Professor Lamar actually wrote my letter for my doctoral program as well. So this is your community. Rutgers has a great community of social workers that will help you out no matter what. I'm actually personal friends with Nikki and Mahogany, and we've had conversations about social work as well when I was in the program as well. So that is something that you should make sure that you do is definitely network with your community, with your classmates, find them on LinkedIn as well, and network that way. For my next question for the panelists, how did your field placements prepare you for your current role?
My field placements prepared me for my current role by not assuming what a presenting problem could be. So I interned working at a in-home mental health agency as well as a nonprofit called RAIN. Going back to my specialization being a part of violence against women and children, I had an assumption of what physical and sexual abuse occurred or how it would take place. However, the more and more I worked with this population, and the more my clients would speak with me and we were addressing symptomologies or treatments, I was learning that one side that with what they didn't land here in like a one way. I was exposed to a lot of different upbringings, races, religions, relationship arrangements as well. It taught me to be very open-minded and to not assume things, which helps fuel the critical thinking towards being assessing and treating patients.
I mean, I can go. I would say that I loved both of my field placements. My first year was with the United Way of Essex and West Hudson, where I've really um, became engaged with community assessment and needs assessments, and it was just great. And then my second year field placement, basically definitely prepared me for my current role in my career in higher education. I mean, I never considered working in higher education until I served as a graduate assistant with the Rutgers College Education Opportunity Fund program, where EOF. And this experience was instrumental in developing my career outlook. Basically laid the foundation for working with first gen low income students and continued my passion and my work to where I'm at now, working at a community college. So, and along the same lines, what was mentioned before, the networks that I developed and the mentors that I connected with through the field experience still exist today. I mean, your field experience is really critical, I think, in your development, and it opens a lot of doors for you.
Shy, would you like to answer? Mahogany?
So I'll say this, currently I work in higher education. Part of me obtaining the Master's of Social Work is not only on how I can utilize it while I work in higher education, but I think when you develop your career, your personal career, you think about how you may possibly change. So for me, this is one, I did the clinical track because I wanted to go in the future, wanted to be, a therapist, provide counseling. And it's also as I get older, right? Because we'll get older. I think being a counselor is something that I could do as long as my mind is clear. I can do it remotely, and as long as people feel that they connect with me as a therapist or counselor. And so it's also just um, developing a career that withstands over time. It's also because it's something that I personally want to pursue. So I think when you pursue this degree, it's kind of what was said before that there's so many things that you can do with it, and it serves me currently now working in higher education, working with students. And I see how it can serve me throughout my entire life. And that's one thing I really appreciate about this degree and the field placement that I had. It helped me get those clinical hours to provide counseling and therapy, and see that, yes, this is the right fit for me.
Thank you. So I'm going to actually throw in another question. Were there any specific professors, courses, or experiences that had a lasting impact on you?
I can chime in and say you mentioned his name before, but Mark Lamar was my favorite professor, who I still talk to this day as well. But his courses in supervision consultation, all the MAPS courses that I took with him, were were incredible. Also, someone who really had a profound impact on me was Dr. Kathleen Poddick, and her practice courses many years ago. And she also encouraged me to um to be more participatory in class because my first semester I was very intimidated by the levels of experience that others in my class had in the field of social work. And since I came right from undergrad to grad, I was a little nervous about talking in class or participating, and she pulled me to the side and really encouraged me to be more participatory and to ask questions, as we mentioned before, as was mentioned before. So those two professors in particular always stick out to me for their support that they gave me.
Thank you.
I have a few. I think Professor Marla Blunt Carter. If you can take that class, I think it's an excellent, great class. You learn a lot, and also, I took that class online, but I went to the UN, and met her in person there and thereafter, and just as a professional, a professor, and a person, just so amazing. So if you get a chance to take her class, I would say take it, but then also carve out the time to like go to an office hour with her or meet her in person. She's just really amazing. Um, Lena, I can't say her last name, so Sandile, I don't know if you know, it's Nepomnosky. She taught poverty, inequality, I think public policy. I think that was it's such an informative class, and she was able to provide it with some energy. So I think that's a lot. That says a lot about a professor when, I'm working full time and I sign on to this class that starts at I think 6 or 7 o'clock, that even virtually it was just so informative, how the class was set up. And then I won't take too much time, but I think Michael Park and Natalie Moore Burnby were also professors that were really great. And I can't remember the adjunct professors I had when I first started. They were just wonderful. So a lot of the professors I really lucked out, but those are the few names I just really wanted to highlight. And just for students who are in the program and who are joining, Christina Broderick Royce, she was one of my inspiration for signing up for this program. She's an adjunct that just started in the fall, so um, she's really amazing.
Thank you. So I'll say Professor Lamar was my first professor in the social work program. Um, he taught diversity and oppression when I started the program. He was a excellent professor. We had a lot of discussions in the program. It helped me conquer my fear of public speaking, being in his class and having the conversations with classmates, thought-provoking conversations and seeing other people's perspectives. So I always thank Professor Lamar when I got hired here at the Rutgers School of Social Work. I was excited to actually speak to him and see him again because he is one of the reasons that I wanted to come back to work for Rutgers as well. I also will say Professor Dr. Ronald Quincy. So I am a MAP concentration student and Professor Quincy's course on marketing and fundraising was one of the important classes that I had because in the work that I do in social work, I like to create programs and write proposals for fundraising and marketing our events. So that class was very important for me in helping me learn how to write grants, what are the best ways to market something. So those two professors, I can admit myself, were excellent professors I can think off the top of my head. Anyone else? All right. So I'll ask the final question. If you could go back and give your graduate school self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I'll answer this one. I would probably give myself advice to stop waiting until the last minute to submit my paperwork because the cramming before 11:59 p.m. was crazy.
Um, One advice that I would give, sort of on that same vein, but also what I also tell my students in the School of Business is, um, we all have digital calendars on our phone. Maybe get a desk calendar and really map out when things are due and highlight it so that when you look at it, you can easily flip down and say, I have a paper due this time. I should start working on it this time. And so that when you also get asked to do social things, you can see it all laid out. And I think it would help um with what Mahogany said, kind of maybe not be stuck doing a paper last minute, or better organize and prepare so that you can kind of mitigate those situations as best you can. Oh, and I'll say one fun thing. I would say if you really can do one of the learning abroad or study abroads while you're in the program, really do it. I didn't get a chance to do it in when I was doing the Master of Social Work, but I did it during my Master's in Education. And it was so invaluable. And so when I heard Mahogany said that you did China and Mexico, I was like, oh, I want to go back into it. It's just such a great opportunity.
Take advantage of everything that the school has to offer you, from placements to office hours. Unfortunately, during the time when I was taking the placement, it was tough because I was juggling two jobs. I was helping my now wife overcome a terminal illness. She's fully recovered. She's back on her feet as well. So that was one regret I had, but really take full-blown advantage of everything the school has to offer you. Also, don't be too hard on yourself. Trust me, I'm sure, and I'm seeing some of the other panelists shake their head. Yeah, it's tough. And even as an adult and being as a clinician now, don't be too hard on yourself. You're going to make mistakes. Have a good support system in your personal life. Lean on your classmates for support. because if you're not also learning from your professors, sometimes too, your classmates are also a great resource to learn and to grow as an individual. So that's my two pieces of advice.
I'll go next. I would say review your material and look over your syllabus. Like really read the syllabus, and as you're going along in class, like review your material because that's something that you're going to need along the way when it's time to do your papers or your assignments. It's going to go a long way. So just make sure that you're prioritizing and just reviewing your material.
I think for me, we've talked a lot about it, but just I guess Joseph used the word being more inquisitive. I wish I would have been more inquisitive during my first semester, and connected more with classmates and connected more with some of my professors. I think, yeah, just the inquisitive, asking more questions and being able to connect. And I like what everyone's mentioned also in terms of taking advantage of what the school has to offer in terms of other programs and presentations. There's always something going on, at Rutgers in general, but at the school social work as well in terms of different lecture series. And I wish I would have had more time to have participated in some of those activities as well.
And I'll add something myself. If I were to speak to myself in the program, I would have said, at the first couple classes, you may feel the imposter syndrome, sitting in class with so many professionals from different fields of social work that may be energetic and speak more than you. Um, but you were accepted into this program for a reason. This is a nationally ranked program. You were accepted for a reason. You were a great candidate. Someone read your application and thought you would be a great um, a student in this program and go on to be a great alumni for this program as well. So just remember, you got it. You will be great in this program. Continue to network and build with your fellow classmates, your professors, and in the alumni as well. First, I would like to thank you all, to all our panelists for your time, honesty, and wisdom. Before we officially close, we'd like to open the floor for any questions from our attendees. Feel free to unmute or drop your questions in the chat box.
I have a question.
Sure.
Um, how long did well, okay, I guess Mahogany can answer. How long did it take for you to get your BSW certificate from Rutgers?
It's been a long time. I don't remember.
No,
I
like the
don't
physical,
know.
I guess what I'm asking is the physical certificate.
I don't remember. I just know it came.
It came in the mail, right?
Yes.
Okay, anybody else? No? Shy?
Mine also came in the mail, so
It's taking forever to come. I'm just saying. Thanks, everyone, for your service.
So we have a question. How was the blended online program? Were some courses in person? Shai, I know you graduated from that program.
Yeah, so I thought it was really great. I did take some classes in person. Sandy, I don't know if they're very strict on what can be taken in person and what can be taken online. I think if I really wanted to, I think I could have squeezed by doing things online, but it was designed so that some of the like last classes I took were in person. If that helps answer your question. I thought it was great. I think for anyone who's doing the blended program, if you haven't been in school for a while, um, um, there's some platforms that are used. If you're not familiar with that, I would say just be direct and talk to your advisor and say, this platform is new. Can you walk me through? I'll maybe look at some video demos because that's some of the gaps that I saw some of my older classmates struggle with. And once I explain that to them, they're like, oh, it's so much easier. So that's the only tip I would say to check out.
I'll just add, you're absolutely right, Shia. It doesn't come until the last part of the program. The 3-year blended program it's you can take it fully online, but there are 2 in-person requirements in that 3rd year or so.
So another question that we have is, what went into your decision to choose between maps or the other route? Does anyone want to answer that? Because I know the reason why myself chose map.
I'll share why I chose the clinical route. I chose the clinical route is because I wanted to have the option to be able to get my LCSW. And so by taking the clinical route, it puts me on that path. If I do want to pursue my LCSW, I did that. Whereas MAPS, I think I would have had to come back and take some classes, and also do some field work to be able to pursue that later on.
So I'll speak on why I chose map. I was originally had the pursuit of clinical. But I worked first off, my job at the time when I was um, in the program was career development counselor at the Edison Job Corps. And I worked directly with students. I had about a caseload of 60 students from all over New Jersey, New York, pretty much everywhere. But then I also on the weekends for my internship, I interned at the New Jersey Training School for Boys is known as Jamesburg. And I realized after a while that I'm more of an empath. So sitting in the jail in the facility with these young men and having the conversations and learning about how they joined, how they ended up in the situation, was kind of wearing on myself. So I said, you know, I think I don't want to go this route. I want to go into the actually creating policy and creating systems and writing up policy to help students. There were certain things that I saw working at my job and working there that I wanted to change a policy for that. So that was one of the things that I was most important to me and why I chose management policy. Plus, I always like writing up proposals and doing that kind of work. One of the next questions I see is how is the material presented in classes? Do you believe that what is taught is truly applicable to the field? Does anyone want to take that question?
I would say so because I remember taking the policy classes, and I can definitely think about how those classes were related to the kinds of things you experience when you're actually in the field. There's always rules and regulations and policies that impact the work that you have to do, no matter what setting you're doing that work in. So I would say that those things were definitely applicable. And then I would also say when you're learning about like mental health disorders and medicines and stuff, me working in a nursing home, I'm definitely seeing how that material was applicable.
Great, thank you. The next question is, did anyone do one of the certificate programs, and what was your experience of its cohort?
I took the Vossi cert, and what was my experience with the cohort? We were, it was very close knit. If I wasn't learning from it was it felt the cohort for the cert felt like such a family. I would do it again. And what was so cool, one of the coolest experiences was for the violence against women cert was the coordinator of the certificate program had their own created their own format for graduation, had our own little acknowledgement and celebration. So I would, if you have the opportunity to do it, do it.
Um, Next, someone asked, Joseph completed the full online courses. Was that the 2-year or 3-year program? And he said, I'm wondering if the online format would be manageable for someone like me balancing parenthood, a full-time job, and school? And if it's designed for success in such a situation, I'm really aiming to finish in 2 years, but I understand that the 3-year option might offer more flexibility.
So, Amira, I completed it in 3 years, but I think I hate to kind of provide you an answer with a question. I guess the only question I have for you is you really need to know yourself in a way, know your limits, know what you're able to complete, know what you think you'd be able to manage, especially with what you have going on as well. So I hate to give an answer by giving a question is I would say, what is your limits? What do you think you're able to manage? And if you feel like you can manage more, I would speak up and talk to an advisor or a teach or a professor. If you can't, then I would I would speak up and talk about the workload as well, or potentially delaying your coursework. But the best answer I can give you is just I would make sure you are aware of what you can and can't handle in your current life situation.
Our next question is for the 3-year online MSW track. How are internships coordinated and assigned? Will Rutgers help match me with a site that aligns with my interests and schedule, or am I expected to find one on my own? A working parent. I'd also like to know if placements can accommodate daytime or evening preferences based on work. So I will say, when they ask about your practicum sessions, they will send you a form. It'll ask about the certain areas, certain regions you are. So if you want to go Middlesex County, Essex County, Bergen County, they will ask in what type of work do you want to work with. If you want to do something in addictions counseling, child and adolescent well-being, or at least a certificate or something in that nature. Myself, I wanted to do at-risk youth, so that was something that I mentioned. They will try and find the best placement for you. As well, we have hundreds of practicum placements around in New Jersey and around the area, so they'll try and help find you the best one. I will say in regards to um, weekend placements is very hard. But if having the conversation with the practicum office and seeing what is a possibility, it's they can help you find something that is of your liking uh, for this field. For those who took a break between undergrad and grad school, will help you get back into academic mindset after being away for a while. I expect it to be very intense. Um, I will personally say, I was only gone for a little bit, but I will say, master's program is a lot different from a bachelor's program. You're around a lot of more professionals, that are serious about their work, so everyone is in the same boat, for the most part, trying to um, how to uh, understand getting back into the academics as well. So they're very supportive. Your professors have seen so many different students, hundreds of students throughout their career. So they are also very supportive in helping you get back in track with everything.
I can comment as well. I received my bachelor's in social work. I took about a year off, and then I came back into the event standing. So it was about a year, a little over a year. So I had assignments like flying at me a little bit, and I took a year off. So I really had to prioritize myself, take my time, and talk to my advisors and professors. You just have to just get it done and just really try to prioritize whatever your work, whatever extracurricular activities that you're doing, as well as your the course work that you're getting, and just prioritize that. And because I feel like during the week, it was a lot. It was a couple of papers. I was in advanced standing program, so I've really had to sit down, focus, and get the work done. So
I'll say this, from my undergraduate time to my first master's in education, that was a 10-year gap. And from that master's to my master's in social work was another 10-year gap. Amira, I feel like these are all great questions you're asking. And so maybe my suggestion is maybe reframe because it sounds like this is something you really want to do. And so you're looking at balancing. I think if you talk to an advisor, you can kind of step into it, like start with one class online to get adjusted to that, and then build on your semester load. I think that's one way to do it. And you mentioned about balancing full-time work and having a child. So I think part of it is understanding the program, what you need to do and what you can manage. Um, in preparation for me, I knew I wanted to do a master's in social work. I wish I did it like 5 years ago. And then when time came around, I was like, oh, I wish I started early. But in preparation, one thing I did, I had to save a lot of my vacation days so that I needed and wanted to keep my full-time job. So I saved a lot of vacation days so that I can use that vacation time to do my field work. So it is some organizing and planning, but it's so possible you can do it, especially if this is something that you want to do. And the advisors at the School of Social Work, they're really great. So I think schedule a one-on-one with them and map it out and plan it too.
Right, everyone. It's now a little past 5 p.m. and I want to respect our speaker's time. Thank you again to our incredible alumni for sharing your experiences and to all of you for being here today. We hope you feel more informed and encouraged about your journey in social work, whether you're just starting or planning your next steps. If you have any follow-up questions or would like to contact our admissions or advising team, please do not hesitate to reach out. We are here to support you. Have a great rest of your day. Best of luck in your academic and professional journey. And I will be leaving the our email in the chat box, and I'll stick on for another few minutes as well. But again, thank you to our panelists for joining us today.
Thank you all so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate the help. Thank you, Joseph, for your answer to the question about the cohorts.
Not a problem. Mr. Manzini, if you want, I've got a few minutes before a 5:30 meeting. I could also hang out too and stay for for anybody that's got questions.
Sure.
Same here.
Anybody have any questions? Stick on for another 5 minutes.
Thank you all so much.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Vanessa. I'm still deciding whether I want to do clinical or MAPS, and I don't really understand what fully goes into the MAPS program. Like I know it's policies, but like is it just paperwork? Like what goes on, like what's involved in it?
I'm gonna let one of them answer that, but can I just ask Vanessa, are you already an admitted student starting this fall?
Yes.
Yay, congratulations. What program are you starting?
MSW.
Like an on campus and online?
Oh, I'm blended.
Blended. Okay. So you've actually got a little bit of time to figure it out. But this is definitely a good time and good people to ask. Before I let them respond, I will just say you're also going to have some upcoming webinars over the next at least two, maybe 3 semesters, which are going to give you more advice about what the differences are, the different coursework that you would take in clinical or MAP. So don't feel like you have to decide it right now, but good question to ask.
Oh, thank you.
So, Jose, since you were a MAPS alum,
Yeah.
do you want to
I was like
start off?
taking inventory to see who was left at yeah, I think for me, well, as I mentioned, I guess during my presentation, I was really interested in public policy and public administration. So the coursework at the time within school social work really um spoke to me or resonated with me. I'm also a person that, similar to what Sandila shared before, I I'm more of a macro. I love macro practice. I'm a person that really wants to see how systems work, how to try to fix systems, how to connect people to the systems, but not really that one-on-one. While I can do it, I still prefer the bird's eye view of just trying to make and have, for me personally, I just feel I have more of an impact in that realm, in that area. And what I do now as the vice president is, yeah, I'm setting policy, I'm setting direction, I'm setting, developing programs, but I also have a great team of individual social workers actually and case managers who really work well with our students. So it's always that it's person environment or environment and the person. So I'm subscribed to that environment. I love looking at the environment, environmental issues and conditions. I don't know if that helps.
It does. Thank you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Vanessa, you were just curious about the track of maps versus clinical.
Yeah, because I'm not sure which one I want to go into.
I mean, congratulations on choosing Rutgers, first of all.
Thank
So
you.
Mhm.
with clinical, with clinical, I knew I was better. I preferred the one-to-one individual work. My journey through the field of social work, I got started by doing a lot of paraprofessional roles, like teaching coping skills, as well as mindfulness techniques. And I chose, once I got into Rutgers, I knew my path was doing more micro one-on-one work or like family or group work because I had that exposure to the what's called micro or individual basis. And that's how I chose my path. But an internship helped, I worked with one client where I wound up choosing hold on, Laura, you corrected me with cert, the certificate. It's now we now have,
Certificate on interpersonal violence and trauma. Yeah.
thank you for correcting me because back in the day it was something else.
Yeah.
So Vanessa, worked with a client who was a survivor of domestic violence. And that client brought the best clinical work out of me, and that's why I chose the cert work in now interpersonal violence and trauma. I gotta get used to saying that. So that's why I really chose not only the coursework on clinical, but that's how I really got specialized in that world of clinical work, and Rutgers played a big part in it.
I think if I can jump in also, something else I forgot to mention, thinking about the setting of where you want to practice social work is also important. I think for me, I quickly knew that I wanted to be in a nonprofit management type of setting or eventually I ended up in higher ed, but I knew that I wasn't going to need uh, an LCSW in my role or in terms of what my professional goals were going to be. So that kind of convinced me then more so to go the MAPS route. Just thinking about the different settings of where I wanted to practice social work.
And Vanessa, I don't have an answer for you but I may have a question for you. You might want to think about what drew you into this program. Was it working with people one-on-one, or was it that you do like policy and organization and advocacy and working at a more macro level? So if you had something that drew you in, like, oh no, I like working one-on-one with people, I would say maybe explore that route and go on the clinical track. And you have time to think about it. Because you can always, if you go the clinical track and you decide, oh, right, it's too much, you're too empathetic, and that you decide that you want to work on a higher level management, you can always go in that direction. And sometimes some people who did the clinical route when they're working later on, because they know how it is on the ground level and how different people get counseling and the services, that you know it, that later on you can move into management. So I don't want you to think that you can't start one way and end up in a certain space. But if you did the MAPS route from the beginning and later on you decide I want to get the clinical route, you would have to come back and get some of that training. Um, because I did see someone else in the program, she graduated, but she wanted to go the clinical route now. So she came back to get the requirements she needed to later on change that route. So I think those are two things to think about.
I'll just add, I don't know if you made it to our first summer session, Vanessa, but that was devoted to MAP, to the MAP specialization. And Lena Napamanyashi was there. I think I say it right every, she never says anything. It's a tough one, but she is fantastic. And she is all things expert in the macro sense. So if you haven't gotten a chance to check out that MAP session, um, that's a really good one. And our open house is also out on the SSW YouTube channel. And you've got, I forget who did it last year for MAP, but Dr. Tawanda Hubbard is the other expert in clinical. They both give a really good overview of what those two specializations, kind of the routes that they're going to take you down. And so